The story is gaining more national attention by the moment, and a funeral is going on right now in Michigan for 19-year-old Renisha McBride. She was in a car accident at 1:30 a.m. last Saturday, okay? Well, sometime later, she showed up on the front porch of a nearby home. The woman's family says she was looking for help, but the homeowner shot her in the face. He reportedly told police he thought she was trying to break in, and his gun went off by accident. Our senior international correspondent, Nick Robertson, is in Detroit. Nick.
Don, a lot of the details in this case remain unclear. Although the police say the alleged gunman has told them that the shooting was an accident, that he discharged his 12-gauge shotgun directly into the face of Renisha McBride. The family are angry, they're upset. Their attorney has told us that they're willing to put their faith at the moment in the justice system, but the attorney's saying at the same time, how can this have been an accident? No shots were fired through the front door of the property. We visited the property. It's a very small porch area where the shooting took place, and the lawyer makes this point. If he was afraid, why did he come out of his house? How could this be an accidental shooting? How could it have happened in this way? The few details that we do know is that Renisha McBride drove her car, was involved in an accident hitting a stationary vehicle. She left her vehicle perhaps as many as several hours later, according to the police. She then approached the house of the alleged gunman. What happened there, not clear. The neighbors all in that area have told us that this alleged gunman is in his mid-50s, that he was a quiet man living alone, going to work every day. They say that he would cause no problems in the neighborhood. And the family's attorney have told us that the alleged gunman does not have a criminal record. So there are many unanswered questions. In particular, what happened in those hours between the accident, the car accident that Renisha McBride was involved in, and her approaching the house. Certainly this day, a very, very sad time for her family, Don.
All right, Nick Robertson, thank you. Nick is in Detroit. We want to get more information on this, dig a little bit deeper. I'm going to bring in CNN legal analyst Paul Callan and HLN legal analyst Joey Jackson. Paul, I'm going to start with you. The homeowner has not been identified, hasn't been charged. Michigan is a castle doctrine state, which means if you believe that you're in imminent danger of death or great bodily harm, that you can use deadly force, correct? Is this why he has not been charged?
Yeah, that's exactly true. As a matter of fact, it even goes beyond that. The law assumes that you had a legitimate reason to, in other words, it makes an assumption that you acted properly, and the police have to disprove it. So I think that's why they didn't make an initial arrest. Yeah. But, of course, he has to be in fear, and if the police are able to prove that he was not, he can be charged.
Is that a reason that, I mean, he has been questioned, and many people will say, as we saw in the Trayvon Martin thing, well, why hasn't he been arrested just to figure out what's going on, Joey?
Sure. Well, what happens is there's an investigation, and there should be an investigation that's fair and thorough, but it turns on his reasonable belief. Did he have a reasonable belief? Now, Don, that's not a question that you can answer, that Paul can answer, nor that I can answer. That's a jury question, and ultimately it'll be up to, if he is charged and brought before a jury of his peers, he'd have to answer the question, was he in imminent fear? Did he really believe that she posed a threat and a danger? And if the answer is yes, he's exonerated. If it's no, he's convicted, okay, if charged.
So the family is saying, and many in the community are saying, that it is a racial profiling case, that he saw a black woman on his porch and therefore he shot her because, you know, for a number of reasons, because she's black, what have you. But it's not as cut and dry as one would like to believe, depending on your perspective on this, because she had an accident. It was 1 in the morning. But 2 or 3 hours later, she shows up on his porch. What happened between that time? And that's what investigators are looking into, right?
Absolutely, Don. What will happen is that, listen, he's going to say, the defendant, if he becomes a defendant, that, look, it's 3 o'clock in the morning, all right? People generally don't bang on my door at 3 o'clock. I had a reasonable belief that I was under attack. But then, do you come out and address that attack? Do you stay into your house? What were the circumstances? Was it an accident? Did he actually pull the trigger?
What
was the trigger pressure? Well, he's not armed.
He undermines his defense.
By saying that it was an accident, would he have been on better legal ground had he said, I just shot her?
I think he would be done, because now he's saying it's an accidental discharge. If he was defending himself against a burglar, he's got the right to use deadly force. So it sounds like he's hedging his bets by saying, well, I didn't really fire accidentally. They're going to be doing pull tests on this to see how hard it is to pull the trigger and discharge that weapon that runs 3.4 to 4.5 pounds on a shotgun usually. So it's kind of hard to accidentally fire a shotgun. So I don't know how far he'll get with that defense.
What about the racial profiling, though? I mean, can we look at this as racial profiling?
I mean, you know what, Don? You want to look at everything, of course, but, you know, at this point, it'd be premature to say that, because, you know, you have to look and say, well, was it light outside? Could he discern whether the person, you know, was African-American or otherwise? Was he, you know, of the mindset? Did he know? And so all of that will come into question, and it should come into question, but you can't at this point just say, well, you know what, she's African-American. As a result of that, it was profiling. A lot more needs to be investigated before we can come to that conclusion.
If you have someone who is dead, right, that's killed in your yard, what is the difference whether it was racial profiling or if you were negligent? Do you understand what I'm saying, legally?
Well, there actually, in the end, there might not be a difference, because if it was a reckless or negligent shooting, even if you were racially profiling and you intended to shoot the person, but you didn't do it intentionally, it was just an accident, you'd get the benefit of the defense. But racial profiling, of course, totally complicates the situation. It's going to put the homeowner in big trouble.
It goes to animus, though. If you determine it's racial profiling, it goes to whether or not you did it for that purpose. Were you acting maliciously?
We got to run. Thank you very much. Paul Callan, Joey Jackson. Appreciate that.